Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power. Shout out to all the truth searchers and researchers in the building. So we have been covering this Charlie Kirk murder, and we have been a little suspicious nonetheless. And let's just say that my suspicions have probably added up. So, like I said, it didn't even look like a real assassination. The stories were conflating between the FBI director. We have one story that they caught the killer, or it's not the killer. They caught another guy. He's the murderer. He wasn't the murderer. And then eventually the guy, Tyler James, is the murderer. They got him. They found the bullets. They found the DNA. They found this. They found that. They found the tools. They got footage of them walking up. They got footage of them leaving. They got a footage of them changing clothes. We haven't seen any of that. So let's get into the story, man. If y'all ready to rock this thing on now, hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power, the hood journalist. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. Then the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow up just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
Lieutenant Governor, Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord.
So if you pay attention here, they claim they got Robinson. They claim they got all this evidence pertaining towards him. Now, I want you guys to be mindful of what's going on. This is one of the biggest fallacies and one of the biggest lies told by the FBI director. All right, I want y'all to pay attention to what really went down with this whole Charlie Kirk situation, right? So we're going to get into some detailed footage right now, all right? And I want y'all to pay attention because they're going to go back on their word. I want y'all to pay attention.
In the crowd
now, listen,
or
this
anywhere else.
That particular video that you just seen was the original video from the FBI directors giving their announcements that was directly after they caught Tyler Robinson. Now, Kash Patel gave an announcement on NBC or CNN, I forget, one of the news stations, and he is singing a whole different tune. I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is absolutely strange. Let's get it.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it
in the crowd or anywhere else assist in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? In other words, is there any evidence to suggest that the shooter might have had help?
As I've said from the beginning, this is an extensive and exhaustive investigation, and I can only speak from the FBI's perspective that is still ongoing. We are still triaging voluminous amounts of data. We're still interrogating numerous witnesses, and we're going into devices such as cell phones and laptops and extracting data. And so that's the expertise of the FBI that we're bringing and working with our state and local partners. And as we get information that is of value, we turn it over immediately to the prosecutorial authorities for them to make their decision.
Okay, why hasn't Lance Twiggs, the boyfriend, been arrested? Don't the text messages prove that he knew that Tyler Robinson assassinated Charlie Kirk and then he did not turn him in? Why hasn't he been arrested?
Again, the charging decisions will be made by the prosecuting authorities in the state of Utah. And so we will leave those decisions to them. We are working 24/7 to provide all the evidence we can to them in a timely fashion. That's why we were on the scene almost immediately. And that's why we've been flying back and forth, not just personnel, but also DNA matters. And also these devices that you speak to, thankfully, the FBI.
Now, the reporter is an investigator journalist like myself. And so we ask lead-on questions to invoke a question, answer, knowing that you're not going to answer it. 9 times out of 10, you're going to speak in code. So I want you to pay attention to the coded wording of Kash Patel lying to us in our face.
As regional centers scattered across the country, and we're able to exploit these devices. And that's why you have the text messages. And the text messages speak for themselves, but we're still going. We have more work to do.
Okay, and I know, Mr. Director, that you knew Charlie well. So this hits personally as well, happening just 8 days ago. Let's talk about the text messages. Does the FBI believe that they could have been, you know, like a pre-planned setup to hide any involvement that Lance might have had in planning this assassination?
You know, now that the state case has been brought and the charges have been alleged, you know, I have to withhold any sort of stylization of the evidence. And because there's more evidence coming in literally every single day as we interrogate witnesses who knew these individuals and who knew the suspect and the family members as well, we're getting more and more information. And those are critical pieces of information that we have to hold in the evidentiary chain of command so that prosecutors can use it at trial. The worst thing that we can have happen is if we mishandle evidence and then they cannot use it at trial. That would be an injustice to Charlie Kirk.
All right, we're showing video of the moment that Tyler Robinson jumped off that roof about 15 feet. Mm-hmm. He drops down to the grass below, Mr. Director. We do not see anything that looks like a gun in his pants. We don't see it. Where is the gun, according to the FBI, in this video? And I understand that this is just surveillance from quite a distance and it's grainy, but we don't see anything there.
Yeah. Well, as we know, and look, I walked the steps myself when I got to the crime scene at the university there in Morm, Utah. And what happened was the shooter, as you saw, jumped off the rooftop, and then we retraced his steps to where he discarded the firearm in a wooded area next to the campus. And I walked that ravine. And he discarded the firearm in its entirety with the towel wrapped around it. And one of the critical pieces of information we were able to pull was DNA off the towel and also DNA off a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop where the shooter was positioned in a prone position to take the shot that he took to kill Charlie Kirk. And so
you hear what he said right here, right? Now, I want y'all to keep that in mind. We're going to go back to his original words, family. We're going to go back to his original words. Let's get into it right now. Shout out to everybody that's in the building.
He's on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
All right, so let's get into this next clip right here. Now listen to this.
Writing on those casings,
Running back.
rifle was left, and a message referring
Hold on, let's run it back.
contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Mind you, allegedly, Tyler Robinson was carrying a Mauser 30-06. If anybody didn't want to look at what a 30-06 does to a human skeleton or any part of the body, go look it up. It'll go through two moose standing side by side, just to give you clarity. It could go through two buffaloes side by side. But it didn't go through Charlie Kirk. He only had an entry wound. He have no exit wound with a 30-06, but yet they found the bullet. How you find the bullet if you didn't have no exit? We got to talk about this. Let's get into it.
So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read...
Inscriptions on a fired casing. On a fired casing. Because I want y'all to... That means they said they found the bullet that was fired. There was only one bullet that was fired, though. Keep that in mind. Only one bullet fired. That's the bullet that killed Charlie. So they found that bullet. Keep that in mind.
Found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark. Inscriptions on the three unfired casings read, hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point. Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and three down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow. And a third unfired casing read, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk. Erica Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the director of the FBI, Kash
Now,
Patel.
this is where I want y'all to pay attention as well. I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is where it gets real crucial.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie.
33 hours. That's the key. Now, listen, I want y'all to pay attention to this next 2 minutes, and I'm going to get into this, his new statement that he's now giving. Because he's lying. He's been retracted everything that we know about this whole goddamn case.
Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, We have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI, and we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great, and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions. And we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
I see you in Valhalla. Now, I want y'all to keep this in mind now. The Valhalla thing is a whole nother rabbit hole that I went down, which I'll probably get into in another segment, but not right now, okay? But I am about to get into this next little clip that we want to get into. So shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. Now, let's get into Kash Patel, new evidence about this whole new case and how he feels about this whole situation. So let's get into it right now. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, and support the channel. Let's get right into it. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. Let's go. All right, so let's get it.
Centers scattered across the country, and we're able to exploit these devices, and that's why you have the text messages. And the text messages speak for themselves, but we're still going. We have more work to do.
Okay, and I know, Mr. Director, that you knew Charlie well, so this hits personally as well, happening just 8 days ago. Let's talk about the text messages. Does the FBI believe that they could have been, you know, like a pre-planned setup to hide any involvement that Lance might have had in planning this assassination?
You know, now that the state case has been brought and the charges have been alleged, you know, I have to withhold any sort of stylization of the evidence. And because there's more evidence coming in literally every single day as we interrogate witnesses who knew these individuals and who knew the suspect and the family members as well, we're getting more and more information. And those are critical pieces of information that we have to hold in the evidentiary chain of command so that prosecutors can use it at trial. The worst thing that we can have happen is if we mishandle evidence and then they cannot use it at trial. That would be an injustice to Charlie Kirk.
All right, we're showing video of the moment that Tyler Robinson jumped off that roof about 15 feet. Mm-hmm. He drops down to the grass below, Mr. Director. We do not see anything that looks like a gun in his pants. We don't see it. Where is the gun, according to the FBI, in this video? And I understand that this is just surveillance from quite a distance and it's grainy, but we don't see anything there.
Yeah. Well, as we know, and look, I walked the steps myself when I got to the crime scene at the university there in Mormon, Utah. And what happened was the shooter, as you saw, jumped off the rooftop, and then we retraced his steps to where he discarded the firearm in a wooded area next to the campus. And I walked that ravine. And he discarded the firearm in its entirety with the towel wrapped around it. And one of the critical pieces of information we were able to pull was DNA off the towel and also DNA off a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop where the shooter was positioned in a prone position to take the shot that he took to kill Charlie Kirk. And so we were able to
Now, they said they found the screwdriver on the rooftop. Now, when we get into the video that I'm about to show you in a second, FBI explains that the reason the screwdriver was even left on the rooftop is because Tyler Robinson used the screwdriver to break down the gun to be able to stuff it inside of his backpack, right? But the backpack doesn't look like it even has a 30-06 Mauser in there, right? Then, when they said that they discovered and confiscated the gun that was wrapped in the towel, it was fully assembled. But that goes against what he just what they stated prior to that. By him using the actual screwdriver to break down the gun, he left the screwdriver on the roof. How the hell could he be able to put the gun back together without the screwdriver? Even if he did have an extra screwdriver, why would he even put it back together? And do we have enough time? So these are the things that we got to point out within this case, man. We're on to these niggas.
And I'll analyze that DNA and come back with a positive match for the suspect. That's the type of evidentiary value that the FBI brings and critical analysis that we bring. And the rest, in terms of putting the entirety of it together, we're still looking at a lot of video, piecing it together. There was 1,000 hours, maybe 800 hours of video that we're trying to look at in totality from all the different camera angles. So it's very hard to do. We're working with the university as fast as we can, but they have one system in place, and we're working with them, and they've been great partners.
Okay. All right. Well, that goes against, like I said, the whole statement that was stated earlier. It goes against the whole statement that was stated earlier. So let's get into it. Let's get into the original statement that was said. Okay. So let's get into it. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Let's get it in right now.
Breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media, and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we're confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
And the FBI also revealed they found the suspected murder weapon.
This morning, I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was
a high-powered bolt-action rifle, very high-powered. And for a very high-powered rifle to penetrate someone's skin and not go through and have an exit wound is absolutely impossible.
It's a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation.
Also, this is just coming out from the Wall Street Journal. They're reporting that the ammunition that was used by Charlie Kirk's killer, it may have been engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology. If that is true, that makes a potential motivation for this killing a lot more out on a college campus.
So what I'll release about the suspect is Suspect blended in well with a college institution. We're not releasing many details right now, and we will soon. But right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. If we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately.
Very, very interesting. And the Public Safety Commissioner also pointed out the importance of today's date, right, for American history, September 11th, and how law enforcement is once again coming together with one goal.
Historically, on 9/11, law enforcement has come together as a group.
That's another code term, 9/11. Now pay attention to this.
Was not the shooter. He was arrested. He was arrested for obstruction, but he's not the shooter. And
Now,
then
this
hours
was the
later,
first guy.
FBI Director Kash on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody.
So that's the first lie. Kash Patel. Now, this is the first lie that he told. This was on September the 10th, a day before that alleged announcement from the FBI director. So the FBI director, Kash Patel, announced that they had the killer on the 10th, and they didn't even have the killer. Come on now. That's the first one. Let's get to the second.
Not long after that, the director kind of clarified, saying the subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in the interest of transparency. Now, the Public Safety Commissioner pointed out that those people do not deserve to be targeted in person or online.
Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they face scrutiny, they face threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that.
And that does make you wonder, is that why they are not releasing video of the suspected shooter? We're going to talk about that. Now, there have been makeshift memorials that have sprung up on campus, and some people gathered
I want y'all
at
to
the
listen
state
to this. I
capitol
want y'all to pay attention
saying
to
there's
this.
no ongoing threat to the campus. Utah Valley University
I want
announced
y'all to
that.
pay attention to this right
Tracy,
here.
thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. So let's just talk about what we heard here from this presser. They were able to track the movements of the shooter, saying that the shooter arrived on campus at 11:52, tracking the movements through the stairwell to the roof. They find the shooting location, saying the shooter jumped off the building after the shooting, fled into the neighborhood, that they start canvassing the neighborhood, looking for doorbell footage, contacting anyone that has footage. They have confirmed they have video footage of the shooter, but they are not going to release it, and they are working on ways to ID this person. Before we go any further into the revelations from this press conference, let's start there. What do you make of that police work, and what can we glean from that?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Obviously, it's relatively quick police work, in my opinion. I said yesterday that this was going to be a bit of a cumbersome process. In a way, and I don't mean this in a bad way, you have too much digital evidence. You have 3,000 college students, not all, but you have 3,000 college students who all have phones, all have videos. You have CCTV probably all over the school. That takes a long time to go through. So what that tells me is it was probably all hands on deck, obviously most of yesterday, and then into.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was all hands on deck, just not the correct hands. Somebody was in there taking particular 4K footage from the whole damn event. So we're going to get into that right now. As a matter of fact, let's get into that clip. We're going to come back to this. It's a lot to cover. Bear with me. We're going to make this all a vivid picture. This is what I do. The hood journalist is on the case. Let's go.
He's on the train, on the train, on the train, on the train, on the train. For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
Now watch this. Now watch my boy. He just lounging around, just acting like normal. Now watch this. He looks around. He look around real quick. Watch this. You pick up a tool.
Safety team is here.
You get a little.
I just heard them say active shooter Charlie
You
Kirk.
start taking the damn camera off. That's quite suspicious. Watch your boy movements. It's quite suspicious. And why is the FBI not pulling out and showing that particular footage, which would have caught everything in 4K? Those are high quality movie cameras.
Safety team is here.
Like 8K.
I just heard them say the active shooter Charlie Kirk has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit, is what the security detail just said.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to get closer. This is just a wide shot so you can see what's going on here, and then we'll get a bit closer. I know you guys have pulled apart this footage a million ways, and thank you for that. And here's the closer version of that. You can see, slowed down here, he pulls out the chair, he stands on it, and yes, that would be a big no-no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He takes down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting and would be able to provide, therefore, a lot of insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will, which we're watching right here. So I'm going when I saw this footage, who is that? Like, actually, I should be able to figure this out because I've got a pretty big network at Turning Point USA. The person's wearing shades. I'm not recognizing the individual. And I reach out to somebody on the inside and I'm just like, who's this person? And they tell me the person's name. And I go, oh, wait a second. And I look again. I'm like, I know this person. It's been a few years, but I know this person. This person's been around Turning Point for quite some time, for years. Like I said, back when I was working at Turning Point, early days. So I'm like, I'm just going to reach out. Obviously, I know this individual. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, what's up with this? Where is this footage? Why did you do this? What were you doing up there on the rocks? What's up? Like, this is not the first thing I would do if I had just witnessed Charlie Kirk being shot. And I'll say this right now. He was extremely forthcoming. Like, as soon as I reached out, I just sent a text because I still had his number. And he was extremely forthcoming, immediately got onto the phone. And first and foremost, I should say, obviously, he's seeing all of these clips going viral and he is fearful for his family. He doesn't have any security and people are looking, And he said, look, as you can see in the footage, I was sitting right to the left or to the left of Charlie when Charlie got shot, and I instantly knew that he was not going to be okay. I instantly knew that he was dead. And I then, like, as you can see, people that are running, anybody that was in that zone, ran to the back, and he caught his breath. He wanted to check in with and communicate to other people that were working with and around Turning Point USA. That's why he's on his phone, communicating to them what had happened. That's what he told me. Then I asked, okay, well, what about this camera thing? Why would you grab the cameras? And he says, because the first thing that I thought is that I better secure the footage and be helpful and hand that footage over to the feds. Well, obviously, that's where things get into a pickle with me because we don't trust the feds. Right? I'm like, no, we don't trust the feds. So we don't got to do that. Just let me have the footage. I'm like, just send me the footage. Please let me look at it. There's a lot of conspiracies that are floating around right now. People don't know what to believe. People are doing what I would say, credible videos. People that certainly have the credibility are ballistics experts that are saying that what we see in the front is an exit wound, not an entry wound. I don't know one way or the other because I'm not an expert. I'm getting inundated with messages from people that hunt, people that are in the military saying that this had to have come from another direction. This footage could help. If nothing else, let me help you. Let me formally debunk that by seeing this footage. Like, could you send this footage over to me? Well, he didn't want to send the footage over to me without checking with Turning Point lawyers. I said, look, technically you own the footage. Like, you and some other people own the footage. Like, let me just see the footage, because why go through lawyers? Like, I just want to see the footage. And also I asked the question, why not just release it? We've already seen the worst thing that you could possibly see from the front, right? Like, the front is what is a traumatizing video. And I understand that he wants to afford his wife some protection. Like, this has, to experience that, Erica, so many people watching the love of your life in the last second of their life, it's traumatizing. I'm traumatized by it, right? That's not my husband and the father of my children. And so out of a loyalty to Erica, he also doesn't want to give more footage to the internet. But I said, look, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that, because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. I don't care about anything right now other than figuring out who killed Charlie Kirk. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that, and I watched the footage, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see, if given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this. I don't know anything about any of this, so I'm just telling you what I saw. Okay. First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember.
They saying he ain't even get shot. They saying that if it was a 30-06, it would have went through a human skull. They saying the 30-06 goes directly through.
Remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but like, I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet. Because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see. Okay. That's pretty much all I can tell you right now. And I am going to try to get all of the footage. And I understand that right now he is very fearful. But I am going to continue to try to privately push him to just release it. I believe that transparency is the only way. I'm much more, I think all of us would agree, I have much more trust in the people than I do in the feds. The feds are lying about everything. So they should not be the only people that have access to this. And I understand not wanting to have that relived from another angle, but given the fact that there is
you gotta run that back right quick.
And there is
on something critical. Hold on, right
all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would take from that. But like, I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what they said. The feds exactly said that they were looking for a bullet. As a matter of fact, I know Candace Owen probably didn't have it, but all the videos since this Charlie Kirk evidence I have saved in my files. And so let's pull up the actual clip where they said that they was looking for the actual bullet. Let's go.
Footage from the campus and surrounding area were among the highest priorities overnight. The FBI and police were also searching for the murder weapon and a single shell casing and any other evidence the killer may have left behind.
A single shell casing, right? That means they're looking for the bullet. Listen.
Were among the highest priorities overnight. The FBI and police were also searching for the murder weapon and a single shell casing and any other evidence the killer may have left behind. Police say early evidence points to the shooter firing from an elevated position. Sources telling me overnight the distance of the shots points to.
Look, notice that the camera keeps zooming in on this area. They said the shooter came from somewhere around this way. I'm saying that the shooter came from right here, and it would have made sense with the angle. It would have came in from this particular way. And the footage that was back here, the camera that was right here that the guy supposedly took, that Candace Owen just showed, would have caught the angle of the bullet entry wound, because obviously there was no exit wound. Well, or at least they thought it was an exit wound, because they said that they were looking for a bullet. That means they at least know that it was an exit wound, but it don't seem like it was an exit wound. Do y'all see what I'm saying, family? Let's get back to this Candace Parker conversation.
Keys on the table.
That the feds would have known that, so they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet, because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. Not by what I saw, but what I didn't see.
Right, that's confusing, because we see people in the chat obviously not making any sense. The guy root words in the chat said it exited from the front. It did not exit from the front. Okay, let's just say it did exit from the front. Can you show me the entry room from the back? Show me the entry room from the back. She just said that she's seen footage from the back camera that was removed, and there's no gore. There's no blood. That means that it couldn't have been from that way. But there is some new weird projectile style bullets that they got going on now that I want y'all to get into here in a second, which we are going to get into. Let's finish playing this.
Okay. That's pretty much all I can tell you right now. And I am going to try to get all of the footage. And I understand that right now he is very fearful. But I am going to continue to try to privately push him to just release it. I believe that transparency is the only way. I'm much more, I think all of us would agree, I have much more trust in the people than I do in the feds. The feds are lying about everything, so they should not be the only people that have access to this. And I understand not wanting to have that relived from another angle, but given the fact that there is no gore and there is no blood from this angle, I don't see why not. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I know some of you guys were insinuating. I got a lot of emails that it could have been a flechette. I had to look that up. I don't even know what that is. I was like, guys, I don't know anything. Flechette shells, that something could have been a lot closer that hit him, and that everything else could have been a distraction. All I can tell you is that there's no blood. That's it. There is no blood in that video. So give me your thoughts on that. Now I want to get to another tip that I received that was pretty
you
interesting
gotta pay
because
attention
look,
to that. They saying that there was no blood in there. Now let's go back to Mr. Kash Patel and see what he says, because he is now looking for other suspects in the murder. I thought we got the suspect. Let's go. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Let's get it in.
Angles. So it's very hard to do. We're working with the university as fast as we can, but they have one system in place,
Right.
and we're working with them, and they've been great partners.
Okay,
Now,
let me
mind you,
ask
this is from
about that. And
2
I want to
days
get to
ago
the
or
roof.
last
I
night.
asked the mayor of Orem why the roof wasn't covered. Looked like Butler, Pennsylvania, all over again. But this time the assassin was effective. Let me talk about the video. I know you can't make it all public, but there's one video in particular, Kash, a gentleman who was standing just behind Charlie Kirk with his cell phone with a hat on, filming this the entire time. Why hasn't that video been made public?
Again, the collection of videos, and look, I was in the room where all of this backpacks, razor scooters, textbooks, cell phones, and things were seized from the people that were in and around Charlie when he was shot. And we're also going through that material and others to analyze them. And we can't do that instantaneously. We're doing it as fast as we can. And as we've done during this entire investigation, if there's a single piece of evidence that points to anyone else's involvement in this tragic assassination, we're going to bring it to bear, and we're going to publicize it as soon as we can with our partners through the prosecutorial process.
Yeah, Mr. Director, you know, Lee Harvey Oswald died in prison. Jeffrey Epstein allegedly died in prison. How concerned are you about the safety of the suspect here, Tyler Robinson, making it to trial?
I think the Utah authorities have spoken to that directly. They've got him on critical watch, and they have him in a location where he's, I believe, segregated from the rest of the population. So I think they have that well covered.
All right, I want to play you a soundbite from your lengthy hearing or testimony on Capitol Hill over the last 2 days. Let's listen.
Now, listen
Anyone
to
that
this.
has been terminated at the FBI has been done
No, the question
they
again,
failed to meet the muster in
Director,
their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bull your
time.
entire career in Congress.
reclaiming my
It has
time,
been
Director.
a disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my time.
You can
on that.
reclaim your
You know,
time all you
recuse
want.
yourself.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way?
Mr.
Chairman, would you give
recuse yourself,
the gentleman has no time. Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
Why don't you try serving your
Director,
constituency
did
by
you tell the
focusing on
Attorney
reducing
General
violent
that Donald
crime in this
Trump
country and the number of pedophiles that are
Director,
illegally
reclaim my
harbored in
time,
your
Director.
sanctuary cities in
Director,
California?
reclaim
I'll
my
work
time.
with you on that. Do
Regular
you
order,
wanna
Mr.
work with us
Chairman.
on that?
Mr. Director, I just want to get your response to what you went through the last 2 days.
Look, what I went through was I put on full display what the FBI has been doing for these last 7 months to deliver historic results for America. Starting off with, we are about to deliver the lowest murder rate in modern U.S. recorded history, thanks to President Trump's direction and initiative and resourcing of the FBI. We have also captured 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 1/3 of the American population. We've found and identified 4,700 child victims. That's a 35% year-to-date increase from last year. If we are so feckless and ineffective, and the leaders that are so feckless and ineffective at the FBI, like so many on the left identified yesterday, how are we achieving these historic results? How are we safeguarding cities at historic rates? How are we launching our Operation Summer Heat to these magnificent successes? We got a lot more work to do, but these statistics are just a few that the men and women of the FBI are doing. We took down 300 human trafficking networks. We put away 1,200 child.
Now look, these fake statistics don't mean shit, because now you got a whole new conspiracy that the FBI is pushing now. They're pushing that Tyler Robinson may not actually be the killer, that he could be a patsy, and that this is a whole conspiracy to take out, you know what I'm saying, Charlie Kirk. So let's get into some of the conspiracies that they have talked about. Let's get into it.
Shooter.
The man in the white that you just saw is Dr. Frank Turek, a mentor to Charlie Kirk, who actually spoke at his funeral service.
I start FaceTiming my wife. I'm saying, look at this. This is incredible. Then I start FaceTiming my son and my daughter-in-law while Charlie sits down and begins to ask questions. Now, this is where you may have seen an internet conspiracy. The man in the white hat was giving signals to the shooter. Yeah, the man in the white hat was me, okay? I did this with my hat. Maybe I touched my nose or something while I'm holding my phone because I'm FaceTiming my son and daughter-in-law.
Now, Turek went on to say that the man in black that you saw was Charlie Kirk's main security guy. There has also been speculation that a private jet that left an airport after Kirk was shot was somehow involved in his murder. A man named Derek Maxfield was on that flight, and he posted on Instagram that it was his company's plane. Maxfield wrote, any suggestion that the flights by N88KG yesterday are in any way connected to the tragic shooting of Mr. Kirk is inaccurate, false, and without any credible basis of any kind. So yesterday, as Charlie Kirk's friends, family, supporters, and even the president and vice president of the United States were memorializing Charlie Kirk, FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X that every possibility is being investigated. Take a look. Patel wrote, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of the assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession that I just read to you, and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus.
Now, what this don't even see, I broke down some stuff a while ago when I broke down the Kanye West stuff. Most of my videos on my channel will be put back up in the next few days. All content will be put back up in the next few days, so don't trip. All content will be put back up. But we broke down this red media propaganda, CIA involvement. The CIA is not directly allowed to work within the confounds of the United States. So what they do is they contract certain organizations, right? And sometimes non-affiliates, universities, principalities, mobiles, any civil duty person to change and alter the course of history, to change it for propaganda purposes. I showed y'all how Columbia University was one of the first ones that took on the CIA project with some of the Africa kind of studies. And I show you that they do it within LA, UCLA. I mean, they did it with Howard. They did it at Cornell. They did it at tons of schools. So I just want to give y'all this understanding because I'm about to go into some other slight details about some debriefing information based off of CIA classification. So I want y'all to kind of pay attention to what I'm about to show y'all right now. All right, so drop a fire emoji in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, and let's get into it, man. It's your brother Big Aboriginal Power, man. You already know the vibes. If y'all ready to rock out, and support the channel. Yeah, shout
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
I wanted to share some detailed information regarding valves, piping, and their relevance to critical infrastructure and intelligence communities. Valves as critical infrastructure assets. Modern industrial valves are used in pipelines, water treatment plants, power plants, and chemical facilities, are often automated and networked, forming part of operational technology and SCADA systems. This allows remote monitoring and control of the flow of gas, oil, water, and chemicals. Cybersecurity implications. These valves are part of systems that could be targeted for cyber attacks. Compromised valves can cause pipeline ruptures, water contamination, or industrial accidents. Because of this, intelligence and regulatory agencies, the CISA, NSA, PHMSA, FERC, monitor valve networks and may maintain trusted relationships with manufacturers and engineers to ensure security and resilience. Integration with above ground systems. Modern valve networks can also integrate with cameras, sensors, alarms, and environmental monitoring. This means that an operator could simultaneously monitor flow, view live video, and respond to alarms, which enhances both security and operational oversight. And strategic value for intelligence communities. Knowledge of valve locations, models, and control systems provide insight into critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. Access to or relationships with manufacturers allows agencies to monitor, assess, and secure supply chains. Remote monitoring of valves and integrated systems can support emergency response simulations and national security exercises. And then they provide us with the real world context by writing companies like Caldera Engineering in Provo, Utah, manufacture specialized industrial valves and control systems. While no public evidence currently links them to intelligence contracts, their products could theoretically be part of OT systems monitored by government agencies due to the critical nature of the infrastructure that they serve. In short, valves themselves are simple mechanical devices, but when networked and embedded in critical infrastructure, they become strategically important for monitoring security and intelligence purposes. That just sounds right to me. I'm telling you, every story, I'm like, what is this person? It's like their family's in valve. I don't know anybody whose family did this. I don't know. Again, this is the kind of stuff that we don't know, but we know. And that hit. And I feel like there is a bigger piece of this that involves Caldera. And like I said, I perceive a government conspiracy. You'd be a fool not to see a government conspiracy here, especially with the way that I am being attacked for simply trying to investigate this. And the attacks are growing frantic. It's almost as if they all received an email from somebody who said, I don't care what you say, make it up out of thin air, and do not stop attacking Candace Owens. That is the loudest. It's like an alarm went off. And everyone, people that I thought I was friends with, are coming after me with obscene lies that are just so easily fact-checked. So easily you can debunk them in 4 seconds on the internet, and they're delivering it as though it's honest. We're going to talk about that. I was even surprised PBD. I've always been friendly with him. I've always been kind to him. I have nothing wrong to him. And he seems to be kind of, he's the one who platformed without any pushback, Eric Bolling. And I have an idea about why all of that may be. I'll tell you in just a second. First, want to remind you guys about GNO land, because what if smart contract platforms were not controlled by the elites or big tech? What if they were built by and for real builders, the people? That's the question that GNO land asked, and that's why they built GNO land. They started with Golang, which is a language real-world developers already use, and they built a new platform around it. It's transparent, it's intuitive, and it just makes sense. There's not some confusing system of ones and zeros. It's open source, so imagine GitHub, but designed for on-chain collaboration and composability. Builders actually get credit for their work, and they get rewarded. So every time that their code gets used, that's the real value. It's not likes, there's not clout, it's actual rewards. GNO land rejected proof of stake, which is a system where the rich run the show. They went instead with proof of authority, a DAO where contributors and not bad actors or Silicon Valley actually call the shots. GNO.land is open, it's fair, and honestly, it's pretty unstoppable. So if you are a builder, a freedom lover, or just tired of rigged platforms, please check it out over at gno.land/Candace. Again, that's gno.land/Candace. Now, I've watched too many people who I am close to be vilified for standing up for the truth. I have felt the sting of injustice myself, but I've also felt something else, which is courage. I'm done playing defense. I'm not going to water down what I believe to be palatable, because silence is not kindness at all. It's consent in many ways. And right now, the greatest silence is around the lives that are being ended before they take their first breath. If we're going to call ourselves defenders of life, then we have to act like that. That's why I'm asking you guys to join me to fight back with action, with truth, with love. For just $28, that is what it costs to give a free ultrasound to a woman that's in crisis and considering an abortion. You can help her to see the life that is growing inside of her and to give her truth that the culture won't. So don't sit this out. Do not wait for permission. Be bold, be clear, be unapologetic in your pro-life stance. Go to preborn.org/Candace right now. Give $28. Give 10 times that if you can, actually, because this is the line and it's time to stand on it. We must stand for truth and what is right. We must save lives from abortion and stand firm in the gospel. Again, that is preborn.org/Candace to provide an ultrasound for just $28. Also telling you guys about the wellness company because it is flu season, which means that it's also flu shot season. After everything that we've been through over the last 5 years, the number of people getting flu shots is at a record low. I'm so grateful for that. Not to mention the fact that according to the CDC's own data, the flu shot is only moderately effective at best. And that's not even accounting for vaccine injuries. There is a much better way to stay healthy. Grab a contagion emergency kit from the wellness company. If you wake up with a sore throat or runny nose, address your symptoms immediately with a doctor-prescribed kit containing ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, generic Tamiflu, generic Z-Pak, and much more. It's like having an urgent care clinic in your own home. I have a contagion emergency kit from the wellness company because I refuse to be trapped in line at an emergency room or to rely on expensive insurance. If I catch a cold, I simply open my that we received way too many emails about Charlie's memorial. All of them were asking specifically for me to confirm that I was going. Didn't feel good to me. It felt very inauthentic. I know these journalists are not my friends. I knew they were writing hit pieces, but all of them included that question. Are you going? Are you going to go? Like, you want me to confirm my attendance so that you know where I'm going to be ahead of time? Am I being paranoid? Or does that seem like a little weird? Even on PBD's show, where he just gives a platform to a guest to completely lie for 2 minutes straight, there is this random second where PBD rather oddly says something along the lines of, you don't think she's going to the funeral? Like, they keep talking about this. Take a listen again.
At some point, her credibility, is going to go down the tubes because she needs to bring receipts. Bill Ackman brought receipts. How long was that tweet?
It's still going. I think
he was there
Ron's
in the
still
room.
reading it.
Andrew Colbert was there in the room. You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015,
Oh,
2016.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
So let's
you don't
without
have to do
even
this,
being
Adam.
biased.
There's a
Is Candace even involved
There's
in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
no question proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very quiet breakup where she got too rabbit hole for him. She would be the logical heir to the TPUSA throne, but she's
And
not.
now she's not even invited.
Correct. So this is so their divide is.
Wait a minute, not invited, meaning
She's not even there.
Yeah, she's not
there.
one of the names
Wait,
that
you don't think she'll be at the funeral?
No.
That's
I mean,
not the
heir,
funeral.
the heir to
Oh,
the
okay.
TPUSA throne.
She doesn't speak at the events anymore.
I mean,
Okay, so first and foremost, why did they all want to know if I was going to this event? I said there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying invite anybody can go to it? You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to like push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she like shows up and like posts it on social media. Nope, actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now. I mean, I'm not going to this memorial because it's strange to lie like.
So they've been saying they lying about everything, even about the whole Tyler Kirk situation. Like, here's some strange things about Tyler Kirk when he made his first court appearance, which I meant to do a video on. You feel what I'm saying? Might as well go ahead and get into it now. So let's get into the video, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. I'm going to play a little bit of this video from somebody breaking down Tyler Kirk's court appearance and how it seemed a little off. Maybe a little fake. Maybe even a little AI-ish. Let's get into it right now. And shout out to everybody that's in the building.
The Charlie Kirk assassination showed up in court for the first time this week. Now, a lot of news outlets have reported that he was very stoic and non-reactive. And although that's very true for long stretches of this, there are little moments where some emotion and thoughts are coming through, but there's this really massive inconsistency that nobody is talking about. And the only reason I noticed is because I was watching 2 feeds of this hearing simultaneously, and something didn't add up. And from a behavioral standpoint, that distinction is huge. So we're definitely going to talk about that. And finally, a lot of you requested that we talk about the text exchange that was released to the public between Tyler Robinson and his roommate / romantic partner. And we're going to talk about those as well, because there's a lot going on in there. So without further ado, let's jump right into the footage of his court appearance.
51403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson.
Look how this nigga ain't even barely moving.
Tyler James Robinson. Thank
Tyler
you for being
James
here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Scortis. So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you. I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule A qualified attorney to represent you on your case, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson, I also wish to inform you of your right against self-incrimination. Anything that you say in court today could be used against you, and we want to protect your constitutional rights. Mr. Robinson, at this time, you will remain in custody without bail.
Just to verify that he really sound like that. Just to verify that he really sound like that. Let's listen
Tyler
to it one more
James
time.
Robinson. Could you state your name? Tyler James Robinson.
Now listen to that tone in his voice, because I'm gonna play another video from him, which I know y'all like. How you get video footage of him again? Because he was on body cam. Now listen to them.
Who's driver? You the driver? Yeah. Robinson. Can you tell me just really quick what happened?
I was coming this way and he's just passing through and he pulled out.
He got that nasal talk. Yeah, it's me. I mean, I was pulling up and I was coming through. Yeah, that's him. It sounds like him to me.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff. Mr. Scortis. So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you. I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule A qualified attorney to represent you on your case, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson, I also wish to inform you of your right against self-incrimination. Anything that you say in court today could be used against you, and we want to protect your constitutional rights. Mr. Robinson, at this time, you will remain in custody without bail. Mr. Scortis, is there any other points that you wish to address?
No, thank you very much, Your Honor. There are quite a few moments in this first clip where he is giving away quite a bit. The first one is when the judge says, "Thank you for being here. I'm Judge Graff," and we get a baseline for his acknowledgement. So when he acknowledges, we get this one downward pop with the chin like this. This is something that he's going to do throughout his appearance whenever something is said directly to him and he acknowledges it. And there are a couple of very important details here. One, it's just one pop downwards. That's very important. The chin goes down. Second, he maintains eye contact. So it looks exactly like that. Immediately after the introductions, when things are about to get started, we see him open his mouth, which is rare, and we see him take a deep breath that moves up into the chest. We know that because we see a visible breath. And this usually happens when we're stressed, feeling anxiety, and that makes perfect sense here. The introductions are done. We're about to begin. Here we go. When the judge says to him that he has right to an attorney, again, we get that exact same baseline acknowledgement. Chin down, eye contact, one pop. This is exactly what he does when he goes, "Okay, I understand." Immediately after that, as the judge is saying what would happen if he can't afford one, if you cannot afford one, we see his eyes slowly going downwards and his eyelids even close just a little bit. So everything is shifting down. Now, as a general rule in body language, when we're excited or happy, things go up. We call these gravity-defying gestures, and it's even in the language, right? I'm jumping for joy. I'm on cloud 9. I'm in the clouds. These are all positive things. And when someone's in a negative mood, we use language that goes the other way, downwards. He's feeling down, he's feeling low, and we see it in the body language as well. Research has shown that we perk up with happiness, we take up more space as well. And with sadness, we take up less space and things come downwards. So as he's talking about not being able to afford an attorney, we start to see these negative emotions setting in. Things are coming down. Now, here's where things get really interesting, especially because we've established a baseline for acknowledgement. When the judge says, I've reviewed your declaration of financial status, again, we get that same acknowledgement.
Right, you did, and I noticed that. But now, we're going to break down this some more, but there is some new details pertaining to this whole Charlie Kirk situation that I want to play, but I'm going to play a couple more minutes of this so you can get a quick outline of what's going on.
Downward, eye contact maintained. But as the judge goes on to say that he's going to appoint a lawyer to him, we again see a nod, but it's very different from the acknowledgement nod. This time, the chin goes upwards like this, and we see an eye block, which is a very slow blink as he comes back down. So this is a subtle difference, but for someone who typically acknowledges downwards while maintaining eye contact, this time we have pretty much the opposite of that. Chin's going up as we're blocking the eyes. So the research on eye blocking is really fascinating because it shows that we're born with the reflex of doing this. Even children who are born blind eye block in certain moments. And it happens in one of two cases. So think of the eyelids as the garage doors to your thoughts, and either we're trying to keep them in or not let them come in. So you might see it if somebody's experiencing something really happy or great news. They might close their eyes as they're celebrating because they want to hold on to this emotion. Or when someone gets bad news, you might see it because they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to focus on this thing. Before we put it all together, let's talk about the chin going upwards. So this could mean a lot of things depending on context. Research has shown that everywhere in the world, universally, when the chin goes up, this happens with pride. When we're fearless or when we're feeling proud, chin goes up. Again, remember, positive, up. But it's also exposing the neck, showing that we have nothing to fear. That's one place we might see it. Another place we very often see it universally as well is when it's not held, but just a quick pop with a throwaway, like a dismissal of something. Very often associated, especially in the Middle East, with the sound like this. So like that. It's like a, no, I'm good, just a throwaway. So in this case, context absolutely matters. Notice how it's happening, just this one pop with this slow blink as he comes back down. And I think the throwaway is exactly what's happening here, especially because we have someone who acknowledges like this. So this is very different with that eye block.
Yeah, but he acknowledges what he's been charged with, but he denies all the charges that is being brought to him right now. Tyler Kirk not one time has admitted to killing Charlie Kirk, even though video evidence, FBI directors have claimed that he has already made a confession. They have no visual confession on video or in any interrogation, no written down confession, no audio confession, nothing. They have no confession at all from Tyler James Robinson. But let's get into this new evidence that we got for y'all. This is crazy right here. I need y'all to tap into this one. This your brother Aboriginal Power, the hood journalist. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb.
But I want to read through the charging document against Tyler James Robinson.
Now listen to this.
The state of Utah, first of all, I won't read through the whole thing. He's charged with one count, a capital felony, meaning death penalty, sort of could qualify for death penalty if it's capital. One count of aggravated murder with a victim targeting enhancement, meaning the charge is enhanced because the Charlie Kirk was targeted because of his political views. You can add an enhancement, like if you're targeted because of your sexuality or your race or your religion or your political views, they can add an enhancement to the charge. And there was a violent offense also committed in the presence of a child, which is an aggravating factor. So they have two aggravators. One, he was charged with an aggravator because of it happened in front of a child, and two, because of his political views. He was charged with a second count of felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. That's a first-degree felony. And there was an enhancement on that, again, because of his political views and because of the children. Also, obstruction of justice. Tyler Robinson with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehensive prosecution, conviction, or punishment. He concealed or removed the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. The fourth charge, another charge of obstruction of justice, so he has the two. The fifth charge was tampering with a witness. We'll get into that in a minute because he talked with his roommate and told the roommate to withhold information according to the documents or an item. 6, tampering with a witness, another charge, so 2 counts of tampering a witness. 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child. So 7 charges is what he is facing. He remains in the Utah County Jail, no bond, no bail. And here is the probable cause statement. This is what the investigators put together to take before a judge to say, we have enough probable cause or we have enough evidence that to charge this person with a crime, and the judge has to sign off on it. On September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:23 p.m., Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking to a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Police found the suspected murder weapon, a bolt-action rifle, nearby. Over the next approximately 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for the shooter until the evening of September 11th, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson had the gun, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his lover/roommate.
So we already know pretty much all this information. But what's even weirder about this whole thing is not just the Charlie Kirk murder, Tyler not wanting to give up any information, the guns, the details, but even more is the memorial, which I covered in detail. Which the memorial was absolutely strange. It almost felt like a campaign speech mixed with a revival. Obviously, Candace Owens thought it was a little strange as well.
You should believe you're a believer, right? As a Christian, you believe in miracles, right? Like you believe in Christ and the miracles that Jesus performed, right? Well, then you should just believe this. There's something about that I don't like. I don't like that. I don't just, this was a miracle and that should just be the end and no more questions should be asked. Yes, the conservative base is filled with Christians, but also the conservative base is filled with a lot of hunters, okay? People that hunt and they know weapons and they know how weapons work and they know how weapons don't work. And this particular statement to me does not pass the sniff test. Now, again, when I shared that information, I had assumed they were going to say the angle went through this way. I did not imagine they were just going to say that it was a miracle. Alex Jones immediately took to X Live. This began trending. The statement began trending, and he jumped onto X, and he responded to that statement saying this. Take a listen.
The spokesperson for TPUSA just posted 2 hours ago that they talked to the coroner and that Charlie Kirk was shot with a 30-06 in the left side of his neck, the carotid artery, and that he's a man of steel, and that the bones in his neck that are like chicken bones stopped a bullet that travels 2,500 feet a second out of the barrel at 200 yards, depending on the grain of the cartridge and the rest of it. Probably hit him at 1,900 feet per second. I've shot hogs at 500 yards, 30-06, right to the side. Tiny hole, blows a 4-inch hole out the other side. We're talking through 2 feet of a hog. Boom. Hit him in the head, brain completely blows out. They just said he got shot with a 30-06 and that it didn't go through.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. And here's the thing. If you were going to bring me to the argument that this truly was a miracle, it probably would not be in the midst of a circumstance where the feds are lying, right? That is like not now, right? because it could be a miracle also that Tyler Robinson decided to take a break at Dairy Queen and issue some texts that sound like they were written in 1822, and tell every single, it could just be a miracle, right, for the feds, and go through every single detail of exactly how he planned it, why he planned it, including his MAGA dad, who's been extra MAGA lately, that he doesn't actually lived with, and nobody knows why the dad is extra MAGA lately, and explaining where to find the weapon, and just a miracle that he happened to leave this letter that has since been disappeared. But they, he took a picture, his lover took a picture of it. It could just all be one big federal miracle.
Yeah, sure. One big federal miracle. How many of you guys believe that is hogwash? Straight up malarkey bullcrap. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if you know that that's some bullcrap, right? I just need to know who's in here to acknowledge it. Shout out to the family that's in here, man. Like, we haven't had nobody hit that like button in a few seconds. Let's get those likes up. Let's get these likes up, family. And also, we haven't had nobody support the live stream all morning. Shout out to all the viewers. Shout out to all the supporters. Shout out to the family that's in the building. Don't be a buster. Be one of the ones that support the channel, man. Support the movement. We got the $20 challenge in effect. All donations is appreciated. Make sure y'all support the movement. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power, the one and only. Y'all know the vibes, man. Let's keep this thing going. Let's go.
But I'm not inclined to believe that at this moment. Okay. I'm not inclined to believe any of this at this moment. And so we press on. Okay. And because Alex and many other people and hunters and conservatives were going, yeah, no. I mean, people were even posting videos of them shooting to show what that damage would be like. Kash Patel then made an extraordinary move, and I would say I would refer to this as a capitulation to online sleuths. He tweeted this. He wrote, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of this assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and the days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete this investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information that we have to the public right now. We will ensure every question is addressed at the appropriate moment regarding specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site. We can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot.
Now they're interviewing the pilot. See, all these things has been covered. Why are they investigating all these different leads of who possibly did it, who was involved, if they already have the killer who confessed in custody? That means that that can't be correct at all. We can't take anything that the FBI says at this point. We cannot take anything, which I've never listened to. I've never believed anything that they said. But at this particular point, if you believe in them, anything that they said with any sense of certainty or accuracy, you have to be totally insane, family.
Off its transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site. We can share updates when answers are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap.
Shout out to my sister Bridget. Shout out to Sister Bridget, being the first person to support the channel today. Shout out to Sister Bridget. We appreciate that. Shout out to Sister Bridget. Don't be a buster. Don't let Bridget be the only one to support the channel now. Don't let my sister Bridget be the only one to support the channel. Now I want y'all to listen to this particular part too. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all support the channel. Let's run it up. Let's go.
Oh, well, did anybody look into whether or not there was anything under Charlie Kirk when he was shot? Right? Because if we aren't accepting the narrative that that particular gun at that distance didn't pass through, and yet for whatever reason the Fed scrambled to repave that area, maybe, as some people have speculated, he was shot from a closer distance. I started wondering, was there an access point to any valves? Were there any pipelines that could have been under Charlie? And as it turns out, I looked at some old pictures of where he was sitting, and there was a massive pipeline that was almost exactly behind where Charlie was sitting. Here's that maybe it's a water pipeline. I don't know, but there it is under the flag. And to your right, I went into my tips line and I saw that somebody had messaged me about this. More than one person messaged me about this. They're like, hey, yeah, there's like a whole underground thing there. And to your right, you're observing those two little boxes. And they told me that was a trap door. Now, I'm not implying someone, popped up and shot Charlie, but that's a close up of that area. I'm just implying that there's an entire underground there. And I remember when I looked at the footage, I felt like it was coming up. I don't know anything about ballistics. I'm not an expert. But if there was a hatch door nearby, then we can assume, as we should always assume with colleges, obviously stadiums, there's always an underground path.
Somebody just asked a phenomenal question in the chat, and I got to highlight that. Shout out to Lioness of Ayah. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't want to butcher it. Shout out to the Lioness. She said, why have we not heard from Charlie's mother and father? Not even at the funeral they spoke. They haven't made one statement verbally that we can, verify. That's absolutely strange as well.
So I'm wondering if the federal government has explored the possibility that somebody could have been under Charlie and done that while everyone's looking around and thinking that a shot went off from here, if that was just maybe like decoy number 2 and actually Charlie was shot from beneath him, which then could maybe explain why there was no exit wound. Again, I'm theorizing because I have a right to. I have a right to think. And that is interesting to me. Where does it go? Where do the tunnels underneath UVU lead to, right? That's an interesting question. Maybe everyone's looking up when we should be looking below, right? Maybe we should be looking below if there is this interest in pipelines. And I saw that actually where he was sitting, there's a whole irrigation system that's managed by the university. And so there's definitively stuff beneath Charlie. Again, I don't know anything about ballistics, but I've been very clear that we will be exploring every lead until we get a proper answer for what happened. And I think that would probably be an interesting one for the feds to explore, because within 48 hours, was it 48 hours, Skylar? They decided to instead pave that area, repave it. Do we have footage of that? Here we go. Yeah, no, they kind of did the opposite here. They paved it. And I feel like that was a little soon. So I don't know if things can be unpaid. I'm sure they can, but maybe exploring a tunnel network would be a good start. And I will leave it at that before we get into the absurd. I didn't think it could be more absurd than last week in the manners that I have been attacked. But over the weekend, somebody reported me to the FBI and the CIA. And I'm not going to prison alone. I'm taking all of you guys. First, let me tell you guys about Preborn, because I've watched too many people who I'm close to be vilified for standing up for truth. I have felt the sting of injustice myself, but I've also felt something else, which is courage. I think everybody right now is feeling courage. And I don't want to be playing defense. I don't want to water down what I believe in to be palatable. Not that I've ever been accused of doing that. But it is true that silence is not kindness. Silence is consent. And right now, the greatest silence that is being had right now is around the lives that are ended before they even take their first breath. If we're going to call ourselves defenders of life, then we should act like it.
I mean, something is absolutely strange, and I'm gonna stay on top of it. The more I hear, the more I'm gonna stay alerted. Y'all already know we're gonna break this thing down. We already proved that the FBI is lying to the point where Kash Patel is now recanting his statement. They're now investigating other leads, looking for suspects when they supposedly already had the suspect and already plan on giving him the death penalty. That's absolutely strange already as well. So, man, listen, we're going to stay on top of this. This is your brother, Aboriginal Power, the hood journalist, and you're tapped into the Wake and Bake Show. Make sure y'all be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. I'm out of here.
Keys on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. For the stats, I be beating the odds. Then the blood in me making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow up just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.